What's up, guys? Just before I start the video, I want to say thank you to everyone who supported my last video. Hope you guys enjoy this one. So I just wanted to go over the OU Tourney's final that we had in the TPL. So it was pretty much just like a prize pool. The first place winner won $50. Second place won $20, and then third place won $10, I think. Because there were 16 people. Yeah, 16 people. To $5 each. So I won the OU tourney. Spoiler alert. But I just want to go over the match, give my commentary on it, and then do a little team preview of what I brought throughout the whole tourney. So first off, I really love to use Gardevoir. I think Gardevoir in OU is kind of anti-meta. Not really anti-meta, it just plays along with it. It can work with it, but it doesn't it's not a complete counter to it's not like a Zacian and Ubers, right? Like the complete counter that is Quagsire, which is like a complete PU mon, right? But so it's not like it's completely stopping anything in its track, like Scarf Dragapult deals with this Pokemon really well. But it can, if people sleep on this Pokemon, it can do a lot of damage, especially with Trace. And then Trick with Choice Scarf is really good at dealing with Stall. Because if you trick something like Corviknight or Hippowdon or Clefable, that Pokemon is not going to have a good time having to pick only one move. And then I have the offensive prowess of Urshifu, busted Urshifu, to deal with anything else set up on them, and then so on and so forth. Unless it's like unaware Quagsire. But yeah, so max special attack, max speed, timid. Right, this is a typical set you would see in UU. Right, it's a very good set with 125 special attack. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt really hard. So Moonblast, Psychic, typical stab, and then Mystical Fire to deal with stuff like Ferrothorn. You predict the Scizor to come in, you just Mystical Fire on that. So yeah, that's Gardevoir, and then Buster Urshifu, like I said. So I went with Bulk Up for this tourney. The most common set that you typically would see is Choice Band. I'm not sure how Urshifu is going to be right now in the Crown Tundra meta. By the way, so everything that I'm doing right now is after the Crown Tundra got released, so feel free to use this team. But I mean, honestly, I'm not sure how it would fare against the other Crown Tundra mons, especially Volcarona now that Heatran's back. I mean, what is Volcarona gonna do against the Heatran? I thought it would get Scorching Sands. That'd be pretty awesome if it did, but no, it doesn't. I know Urshifu's really good at dealing with Spectrier and other Pokemons with Sucker Punch, but yeah. So I went with Life Orb for Bulk Up, so that way I can get maximum damage. Well, maximum majority, but maximum damage, and then I can be able to choose between Wicked Blow, Sucker Punch, Drain Punch. So busted move, Wicked Blow, always crits. Doesn't care about you being at +6 defense. It's just always gonna crit. And then I went with Sucker Punch, so that way I can have some speed control again. For Zeraora or Dragapult mostly, because I don't like being outsped. So, and Sucker Punch does hit hard, so that's my way to deal with that. It was it was tough choosing between either Wicked Blow or, I mean not Wicked Blow, Sucker Punch or Poison Jab or Iron Head, but I went with Sucker Punch. You know, this set is completely walled by fairies, but I have other means to deal with fairies on this team. And then I went with Drain Punch, that way I get some recovery. Even though it doesn't hit as hard, which sucks. Then we got Togekiss. So I went with physically defensive Togekiss, so that way I could deal with Urshifu. Now, this isn't a complete counter to Urshifu despite its typing. Even though it times 4 resists Wicked Blow and Close Combat, it's still not going to want to take a hit. It's still, it's going to be a 2-hit KO if you are at about like 50%. So, like, you could come in on Urshifu once, but that's about it. But the idea is that, you know, if I come in on Urshifu and then I could Thunder Wave it, and then I could Air Slash it, that's how I want to deal with it. And then I can spread status to other Pokemons, and then I could flinch down even like slower, bulkier mons like Clefable or Tibaudon or something with Air Slash. Right. Because otherwise, Mandibuzz is a much better counter to Urshifu. But like I said, I wanted to spread status. Mandibuzz doesn't get Thunder Wave, it only gets Toxic, and I wanted Thunder Wave to cripple speed. So this is mostly about speed control on this team, right? Defog to deal with entry hazards, or not, yeah, entry hazards. Which is kind of counterintuitive because I got Shuckle here, but the idea is that basically if they can stop me from getting on my hazards, then I don't want them to have their hazards at all. And then I have Roost for recovery, and then Boots, you know, just so that way it can come in if they do have Stealth Rocks, and then just deal with that. And then I went with Choice Band Rillaboom, so this is probably like the second most common set that you would see on Rillaboom, like the first being Life Orb, Swords Dance, probably. I've also seen like Grassy Seed with Acrobatics. Actually, it's really cool. I should try it later when the Crown Tundra meta settles down, because it's fucking crazy right now. And then Choice Band Grassy Glide. I'm pretty sure this is the set. I don't think I had Wood Hammer. I don't think I had High Horsepower. Pretty sure I had Superpower. But I mean, I don't even remember clicking those moves throughout the whole tournament anyway. It may have been High Horsepower, but I don't think so. U-turn for momentum, so that we could switch out on any walls like Corviknight. Corviknight completely shuts this thing down. Knockoff, probably the best move in the meta since Gen 6, honestly. You know, it hits pretty hard. And then Superpower, just to hit, you know, Ferrothorn really hard before you switch out. Max attack, max speed, Jolly. Then we got Shuckle. I love Shuckle. I love Shuckle on any hyper offense. Because it's an easy Stealth Rock, easy Sticky Web. It's very easy to deal with it, but at the same time, it's very easy to get up your hazards too, because it just eats anything for days, but it doesn't do anything back, other than, you know, put a Toxic and an Infestation. You know, red card, so that way, one, it kind of scrambles their momentum. If they're like, oh, I'm just gonna Volt Switch on this, and then like, oh well, no, I'm gonna switch you out. And then also, if anyone wants to be really disrespectful and like Swords Dance or Calm Mind or Bulk Up in your face, and it's like, and they don't have a multi-hit move, and it's like, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing? Because the only other item that really Shuckle has is Mental Herb, so that way it doesn't get taunted or something. And then Toxic, you know, just in case there's like something like Mandibuzz in front of you that they switch in, you can just chip away at it. Or Infestation, so that way you lock in the Pokemon that you want to be in when you sacrifice the Shuckle, so that way you can bring in your Ball Breaker or your counter or something like that, right? So Yeah, and then I went max speed or max HP, max defense, because most of the answers to Shuckle are going to be physical, like Excadrill with Iron Head, or what's another good one? Not fighting. Maybe like Urshifu? No. A water type. I guess it'd be special, huh? But you got sturdy anyways. You could eat up a hit if you're at full health. But yeah, there's that. I mean, honestly, most of the answers, like anything with Earthquake, close combat, it's mostly gonna be physical. That's usually how people deal with Shuckle. It's usually Iron Head Excadrill is the most common answer I've seen. And then, if they get a flinch, then you don't get any hazard up, right? And then I went with Volcarona. Volcarona was everywhere back then in the Isle of Armor. When Heavy Duty Boots came out, everyone was like, oh my god, Volcarona, oh my god, Volcarona. And then lo and behold, when Volcarona came, Heavy Duty Boots was everywhere for Volcarona. So yeah, Flame Body, in case, whatchamacallit, Rillaboom. In case a Rillaboom comes in, you eat up Grassy Glide, and then, now they're burned. And it totally sucks. Then Quiver Dance, Fiery Dance, Bug Buzz, Psychic. Went Fiery Dance instead of Fire Blast because I'm pussy and I wanted the special attack boost. And then, it's just crazy that, like, everyone was using Psychic back then to deal with Toxapex, because it's like, what did we do about Toxapex in Gen 7? Because, like, no one was using, at least I don't remember Psychic being used anywhere to deal with Toxapex. Like, I remember Hurricane, I remember Ruse. I do not ever remember seeing Psychic, ever. I didn't know that was a thing until this gen, because people were like, oh, you gotta stop Toxapex. I'm like, well, I mean, you didn't have to stop it last gen? Like, yeah, like I said, I never saw this move anywhere. And then max special attack, max speed, timid. So yeah, that's the team. And I decided to just bring this the whole match. Like I said, I was like, oh, I'm gonna spice things up. I'll bring a Sun team, bring a Rain team, bring a bulky offense or whatever. But I was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So yeah, that's the team. So now we got the replay right here. Let me make that dark. Oops, sorry. So yeah. So this was the finals match against Marcus Owen, I believe is his name, coach of the Carolina Conquilders. So let's see, he's got Crowdon, Durant, Clef, Zeraora, Slowbro, Rotom H, right? So Crowdon, big threat. Nothing wants to eat up a Crab Hammer from that. Knockoff, nothing wants to get knocked off. And it's just does big damage, but it's slow as shit. So I got ways to deal with that. Definitely with a Rillaboom. But I have to make sure that thing is gone, because it will completely counter my Volcarona. And then Durant. So Durant, like, you don't see it that often, but it will hurt. It will hurt because it's hustle boosted, and if he gets off a home clause, then he's not missing any of his moves, and then he can just go to town, right? But it's also very easy to deal with it. It's very fast, so if you can stop it from getting off a home clause, then it should be fairly easy to deal with it. Otherwise, it's gonna miss. Like, all of its moves have reduced accuracy, so that's something to always worry about with Durant. That's why I don't like using this mon or Dracozolt, because of hustle. Even though it's a good ability technically, but it's just like niche. And then Clef. Clef's just as boring as Urshifu and Rillaboom and Volcarona, honestly. But I'm expecting, utility Clef. That was what was coming back then. It's not like, the home meta, where everyone was running Wish Teleport. I hated those days. I hated those days so much. People were crying about this meta, but back then, oh my god, I hated that so much. Running into Teleport Clef everywhere. I just got Zeraora. I'm expecting Boots. Boots is the most common set for Zeraora. Well, at the time of the Isle of Armor DLC, so Boots Zeraora, very good pivot. You can Volt Switch around and then go to any mon that's to counter or check. Slowbro, it's a big wall. It gets Teleport, Regenerator, so that's something to always consider. But I got Rillaboom to deal with it. I think it's a 2-hit KO. Grassy Guy, I don't think it's an Oko. But I'm not sure. Also, Urshifu eats it up. But yeah, definitely. It's a very annoying Pokemon to deal with. And then Rotom H. Rotom H hurts with Overheat. And it Volt switches around too, just like Zeraora. So before I start the match, so I'm thinking turn 1, right? So he sees the Shuckle, right? I know he sees the Shuckle. So most people, whenever they see a Shuckle, they're like, okay, I want to stop that thing from getting up its hazards, because I don't want to have Sticky Web, I don't want to have rocks on my side, right? Even though Sticky Web doesn't really hurt his team, especially if that Zeraora was Boots, because his team is pretty slow as it is, except for Durant. That's really the only thing that doesn't want the Sticky Web, but other than that, he can deal with it. He does have Rotom for hazard removal. So he would have to choose between, if he predicted me to lead with Shuckle, he'd have to choose between me getting rocks or Sticky Web. But anyway, I know that he's thinking, okay, I want to stop that Shuckle from doing what it does, right? So I'm expecting him to lead with Groudon. He could lead with Durant, but Durant is it can miss. So, and then if he Hoklies, it would just red card it out. Although it would hurt. So me thinking that he is going to want to counter the Shuckle, I decided to lead off. Oh shit, sorry. I decided to lead off with Gardevoir. So right here, I got off the Trace Adaptability, and I'm hoping that he sees that. Oh, by the way, I don't think you can see the chat. Oh no, you can't see the chat. Okay. So okay, that's just because like I have the timer set up automatically, and he's like, "Oh, you gonna hit me with the timer?" And I'm like, "I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I just have it like that automatically." So I traced the adaptability, so that's awesome, because then Moonblast hit like a fucking truck, and I'm expecting him to think that like, "Oh shit, I don't want this thing to fuck up my team with Moonblast," right? So I'm expecting a switch, because this thing can die even if I didn't have adaptability. And then you look at his team, he really doesn't have anything that wants to switch in on it, right? Zera, Slowbro, Clefable, they don't want to switch in on their adaptability. Moonblast. So he only has two options really. He has Rotom H and he has Durant. So if I'm expecting the switch, I could go for a Psychic, right? If I go for the Psychic, that would deal with Rotom H. Not Durant, but Rotom H. Rotom H could come in and it would get hurt. But I know he's switching out. So that was an option. I could have gone for Psychic and then I would have hit the Rotom H really hard. But I decided to go for the Mystical Fire. Now, the reason I went for the Mystical Fire is because, okay, I'm thinking that I mean, those were his only two switch-ins, the Durant and the Rotom H. Right. So, technically the Psychic was the safer play. But, I'm thinking I'm assuming that he is going to want to go to Durant, eat the hit, and then just fuck my team up with Iron Head. Because he only has 3 really offensive mons. Like, Rotom Heat does hurt, but it doesn't hurt as hard. And it needs to nasty plot up, especially if he has like max HP, max speed, and he's not invested in special attack. So that's why I'm thinking, okay, he's probably going to just go Durant. So that's why I decided to Mystical Fire. So, then immediately he brings in Rotom Heat, because that's the obvious switch in right there, right? But also, the reason I wanted to go for Mystical Fire is if he did go Rotom, then his special attack would go down, and then I would have to... I'd be forcing him to either Volt Switch or Nasty Plot. He could go for the Overheat, but it's not going to hurt as much as, you know, if it was just regular. So I think at that point he would just go for the Volt Switch. Because if he Nasty Plots, like, that's a free turn wasted, right? So yeah. That's why I went for the Mystical Fire too. In case if he went in on this, then a special attack would have been down, and it's like, it was good anyway. So then I decided to go Shuckle because no matter what, if he went for the Volt Switch, then his momentum was screwed up anyway, and then if he went for the Nasty Plot, then that's a free hazard right there. So he Nasty Plots, and he hits me with the Overheat, and I eat that, you know, pretty well. Then I just get up my rocks. He goes for the Plasma Fist. Shuckle's gonna eat that very well, and I get off a Toxic on it, just to chip away at it. And then at this point, I'm just sacking Shuckle because it did its job. I don't really need webs up for anything, and even if I wanted webs, like, it was gonna die anyway. There was no way it was coming in and then like getting up. If it was, it would be like on Clefable maybe, but like no, because they wouldn't want to eat a Moonblast. So yeah. So I get up my rocks, and then I go Gardevoir and I trace the Volt Absorb. So what this does by tracing the Volt Absorb is I'm forcing him to either go for the knockoff and eat the Moonblast, or I'm forcing the Heart Switch because he can't Volt Switch and he can't Plasma, right? So I'm expecting a knockoff here. I get off a Moonblast. It does 64%. It's pretty good damage. It's not as much as I would want. I wanted to do the Oko, obviously, but yeah, I was expecting a Heart Switch, honestly, because that would have done a lot. And this Pokemon is very valuable, so I'm not sure. I think that was a little bit of a misplay. I think he should have gone into Rotom Heat, honestly. But he goes for the Volt Switch, which is unfortunate. I guess you forgot that I traced the Volt Absorb, and because of that, now the Zero Aura is left on 1 HP. So that's a dead Zero Aura. And he goes out to Rotom Heat, no reason not to. So, okay, so that would have been 25%. So, Psychic back then, just thinking back then to the first turn, it would have done 50%, so... I'm assuming that Durant would probably take like 40-ish if I went for the Psychic instead. I don't know what I would do with that. I'd probably go out to Volcarona just to take the Iron Head back then. But anyway, I switch out because there's no way I don't think he would Will-O-Wisp unless he was like God. I'm expecting the Volt Switch. But he goes for the Nasty Plot, so that's a free Wicked Blow right there. But so I thought he was gonna go to Clef, But maybe he was predicting that I would go for the poison jab or the iron head, expecting the clef to come in, so he probably just stayed in there. Because at this point he kind of has to make plays, because he's got the Durant killed, um, and I have hazards up on my side. So he sacks the Rotom, um, and he brings in Clef. So Clef completely walls their Shifu, like it will not do anything to it. So I don't really have a good switch in. Clefable could have T-Wave, so I don't want to go Volcarona, I don't want to go Rillaboom. So I just go Togekiss. He gets up Rock, so like I said, it was utility Clef. This is the most common Clef back then. I get off a T-Wave. I mean, that's really all I could do with Togekiss on Clef. Is just hacks it down. Like, some disgusting stuff. Let's just skip ahead. That's pretty much what I do until he gets a soft boiled right here, and then he's just like, oh, fuck this shit, I don't want to deal with that. And he switches out to Slowbro. But I don't want to switch out to Slowbro. I don't want anything to come in on Slowbro. Because, like, he could go for the Scald. Like, I could bring in Rillaboom, but Rillaboom doesn't want to, get burned. So I just gotta stay in and then just, like, sec it down. Then he goes to Zeraora. I'm not sure why he did that. Maybe he forgot he was toxic. But I figured he brought it in because he would want to, like, scare me out with the Plasma Fist or the Volt Switch, which it would do. Um, I would probably go to Gardevoir at that point. But I think that's what he was trying to do, and he forgot about the toxic. So the Zeraora dies, but he could have, which is unfortunate because he could have gotten a Volt Switch off with it or something. So he brings back in Slowbro, and like I said, I don't want a hard switch out to Rillaboom, because I don't want to get burned. So the best play for me is to just flinch this thing down. Just kind of an asshole move, but it's like I don't really have a choice. Then he gets the future sight off, and then I get a crit there, unfortunately. Because at that point it was a 2-hit KO. So Slowbro's gone. Um, so honestly, at that point, I'm like, I don't want to deal with like hexing it down. And then also Togekiss doesn't want to eat up the future sight anyway. So I go up to Gardevoir because it'll resist the future sight. And I could get some good damage with Gardevoir off. But I don't do that. I actually trick it. So now he's locked into a move. And this is what I was talking about earlier, is that trick is so good with dealing with a lot of those defensive Pokemon, a lot of those stally Pokemon. So that way they're just locked into a move and they can't do anything else. They can't heal, they can't teleport, they can't whatever. They just have to stick with that one move. So now he locks himself into Moonblast. So because I see that, I just go into Rillaboom. He's not gonna switch out to Groudon, and I get the para. Unfortunate, but I would have taken two easily, because he's got enough bulk for that. And then that's the game right there, because Grassy Glide just comes in and just cleans up. So yeah, that was the match. I hope that we get to do more tourneys. Definitely. I'm not used to the Crown Tundra meta yet. I don't think anyone is, and it's really, really crazy right now. So I'm not sure if we would do one anytime soon. Maybe at the end of the season, before season 3 starts for TPL. But yeah, good match to Marcus. GG. GG to everyone I played against. Let me know what you guys thought. If you want me to upload the other replays, just let me know. But since this was the finals match, I just wanted to get this one out. I guess I should have done the other ones first and then led up to this. But I feel like this is the most important one, I guess. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Yeah, thanks for watching.